Good evening, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Give me just 1 minute and we will get started. Thanks for attending tonight. All right. Good evening, friends. Tonight, most of the people that we have on board have been to some of my webinars, or at least been signed up for them before and weren't able to attend for whatever reason. So tonight we are going to focus on a couple of things. Number one, the city of Detroit, $75,000 Tobias Harris program was exclusively for 9 zip codes in Detroit. It is now open to all zip codes in Detroit. So there are 30 zip codes in the city. $75,000 is now available in all zip codes. So there's some plus, large amounts of money, obviously, but there's some downside to the program, and I'll go over that in some detail as well. In addition, we're going to spend a few minutes going over and actually using our application, Zero Down Scout. It's a new app my team and I created, where it will give you access to over 3,000 programs across the U.S. So very, very excited to launch that. We keep working the bugs out, and I think we've got a pretty darn good version right now. So we're going to give everybody an opportunity to download that. In addition, I have one of the investors that I work with is actually a property manager that is going to start liquidating. So he just tossed me 25 houses in the suburbs. Warren, East Point, Roseville, Farmington Hills, Redford are the areas that we've got coverage in. So these are homes that will be priced anywhere from, I think I have one as low as $70,000 all the way up to $200,000. So a lot of opportunity for people that might be frustrated, because it is kind of challenging right now to find good quality homes that you can get under contract. So the inventory levels are still struggling, at least in my neck of the woods, southeastern Michigan. So other areas of the country, I find that the inventory levels are actually trending up right now. So if you happen to be in southeastern Michigan, so we've got some good news. We've got plenty of houses available. This is a seller an investor that I've been working with for several years, and he is all about how I do business, teaching people how to purchase with very little money out of pocket. So in fact, most of the homes that we have on this list, I think there's 24 homes actually on this list that I'll give to you in a few moments, will all qualify for zero down. And there are ways to get your closing costs structured in there as well, too. So most of the people could probably purchase any one of these 24 homes with less than a couple of $1,000s out of pocket. So always happy to go over those in detail. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Collins. I have been teaching people about down payment assistance programs and grants and how to get into homes and purchase homes with very little money out of pocket. Gosh, I've been in the real estate business for 38 years now, and I've been more focused on this area for the past 12 years. So after some life-altering events, I was just forced into just a really tough situation where I had to basically dig myself out from bankruptcy, foreclosures, you name it. I was in a business with a bookkeeper that unfortunately took advantage of the situation and ended up getting the bad side of that deal. But just the same, that's where I am today. It actually I'm better off for it, just for the fact that I now get to teach people about all of these programs every day. And I was a guy that once just chased numbers, okay, just trying to be the top of that mortgage leaderboard. And boy, once we had that fall from grace, for lack of better words, I really did a gut check with regards to what really mattered in life. And I realized that getting back on that hamster wheel wasn't something that I wanted to do again. And my family and I and my wife and I made a decision where I was just going to pivot, and we were going to live humbly and, more importantly, teach people how to get into homes with very little money out of pocket. Because these down payment assistance programs and grants that I'm going to share with you in a few minutes, they've been out there for years. I got in the business in 1987, and there were programs back then, but not too many people really sounded the drums and taught others how to get to them. So that being said, about 12 years ago, when the switch went on for me, I decided to make it my life mission to educate as many people as possible about it. And I'm going to give you access to all of my educational tools shortly as well, too. So I have a book, No Down Payment, No Problem. A book, No Credit, No Problem. Video courses, where if you don't like reading, you can actually take the video courses on how to tap into these programs, where to find the programs, how to tap into them, and more importantly, how to structure the deal so you can get in with very little money out of pocket. And for those of you that have credit challenges, we're going to touch on that as well, too. I do a credit repair course once a month. I'll give you information to sign up for that. So, but with that being said, let me make sure we keep getting some people signed in here. Okay, for some reason, I'm having a little bug in my system tonight with Zoom, so it's not automatically signing people in the way that I prefer. Let me see if I've got all my settings here. And okay, got it. So, all right, so I just have to keep an eye on things to make sure that people are in. So my apologies, Brenda Starr, for the delay getting you in here. Any questions, please do not hesitate. Put them in the chat box. I will probably go through the whole presentation, try to go from A to Z in about 40, 50 minutes, and then I am here for the duration to answer as many questions as you have. So with that being said, let's get started here. Just covered this, my passion, why I do this. Let me give you some of the success stories, the people that we have been able to help over the past year. So this first person, this is actually a couple. This is Nate and Chelsea. They purchased this home out in White Lake Township. They actually tapped into $14,000 down payment assistance program to buy this home for $260,000, covered 100% of their down payment and part of their closing costs. So very, very happy and excited to work with Nate and Chelsea. Actually working with Nate's sister and her fiance right now. We just got a house under contract, and we're doing a home inspection for them tomorrow. Next person, Kenneth Martin. Gosh, Kenneth, I met actually back during Christmas, and just before Christmas, he actually closed, and we were able to get him into the house by Christmas. But just before that, Kenneth found himself the victim, I should say, of an eviction. So he actually lived with a friend of his that moved out and had the lease in his name, and the landlord pushed Kenneth out once the person whose name on the lease left. So Kenneth actually called me from his barber chair. And funny enough, when he was in the barber chair, his barber heard his story, and there we go. And once his barber heard his story, he basically said, "You got to call this guy, John." And Heard Ken the story. He actually was working with another agent who was trying to shoehorn him into a house over on a street called Lamphere. Actually, I grew up on Lamphere over at Finkel and Lasser area. So gets a little bit tough there. And Kenneth they were trying to push him into buying this house on a land contract, and it really wasn't in very good shape. But, Kenneth was on a fixed income and didn't have any money. And that's the way it is with most of the people I work with. But, when people come to me, they don't expect to buy a house. And once they go through my webinars and they realize that, hey, these programs are out there, they're legit, and you can qualify for them. I always tell people the money is the easy part. Okay. So if the credit's there, I'll get you the money. So, and the credit does not have to be perfect. Let me clarify that. Nothing I do is about perfection. Okay. This is all about getting people into homes with as little money out of pocket as possible. So never, ever think this is about perfection. I get so many people that get caught up on, I'm just not ready. I need to get my credit up a little bit, or I need my income. It's never a good time. Life gets in the way of all of our plans. I'll be the first to admit that. At least it has for me. So that being said, I always like people to understand that, forget about perfection. Let's just get you into a house. So anyway, so we were able to get Kenneth into this house on Vaughn Street, and for $95,000. So great house. You can see in the lower photo, the kitchen was redone, house was redone top to bottom, and they actually, the person that redid it did a really good quality job. He ended up being more in the 7 Mile, Evergreen, Greenfield area. So that being the case, he was much happier being in this area. That's where he's originally from. So, and we were able to get him into a house. I think his payments were about $750 in that area. So about what somebody would pay for a 1-bedroom apartment right now. So, and I always try to equate a lot of the conversations that I have with people in what would it cost to rent. And right now in the US, the average 2-bedroom apartment is $1,350. So in my marketplace in Southeastern Michigan, 2-bedroom apartments are running $1,300 a month. So with that being said, $1,300 a month, that's buying about $150,000 house. So, and with only a couple of $1,000s out of pocket, if we structure it the right way, tapping into some of these down payment assistance and grant programs. So very, very happy for Kenneth. And he actually, he's there with his puppy, Maestro. Kenneth was actually a musician, so that's why he named his dog Maestro. And Maestro was a dog. He just kind of entered the conversation through the process. Kenneth's process took just a couple of weeks longer than we would have hoped for. And we had to put him up in a motel. And that's actually where he found Maestro. So, anyways, and I actually just spoke with Kenneth the other day, and Maestro is probably 2 or 3 times the size of what he is in this photo. So he was a little scrawny when he first entered the equation, but Kenneth's fattened him up a little bit. So next person is Shannon. Now, Shannon was referred to me by the crew at the Kroger at 8 Mile and Wyoming, actually just across it. It's not in Detroit. It's actually in Oak Park, I think is what it is there. But anyways, that being said, Shannon, I think I've helped 3-4 people at that Kroger get into homes with very little money out of pocket. Shannon actually qualified for a 0-down grant to purchase this brick ranch right on Wyoming, a couple of blocks south. And we had to be close to where she worked because she just, like a lot of people, didn't want to drive. So we got something within walking distance to the Kroger's, 8 Mile in Wyoming. So she was able to get in with only $2,000 out of pocket using a 0-down grant through Flagstar Bank. Emily, Emily has been with me for about a year now. She bought, and Emily I learned just as much from her as she did from me, but we were able to run the table. We tapped into all the money with Emily. She actually got the $25,000 down payment assistance program through the city of Detroit. We on top of that, got a 3% down payment gift program through Flagstar Bank. On top of that, a $5,000 closing cost grant. And on top of that, a $500 appraisal grant. So all in $33,134 in what I consider free money. And what I mean by free, as long as Emily owns the house for 5 years, she gets to keep all the money. And her payments came in the 700 area. So her payments actually went down. So, and oddly enough, Emily is the recipient of a Section 8 voucher. And so any of you out there that have a Section 8 voucher, we can actually use it to purchase a home. So Emily's voucher is actually making her house payments now. So there is a home purchase program for people on Section 8. So if you have any friends or family out there that are recipients, send them my way. I'm proud to say Emily was the first person now this voucher home buying program has been around for probably 5 years and no one ever got through. Emily was the first person to get done. She would not be denied. She kicked the door open. Since then, we've been able to help quite a few people on that program. So I will forever be grateful for Emily being very persistent and helping them get that program across the finish line to the point where they're actually routinely helping people purchase homes and getting them out of that renting rut. Because I hate to say it, but it is really hard in that rental world right now. Here, Tashiana purchases home with $25,000 from the city of Detroit. And Brian purchased his home in Inkster using $10,000 from the state of Michigan. The Michigan State Housing Development Authority has a $10,000 down payment assistance program. He was able to get into this home with just a few $1,000s out of pocket, and his payments are below $1,200 a month. And then Deborah, another one of my favorites. Deborah actually, boy, I'll never forget the day Deborah called, because I received calls. Actually, I'm a phone jockey, so I get a lot of calls during the day. And she shared with me that she had a landlord that was willing to sell her the house. And I get those calls quite a bit. But she shared with me that, oh, my landlord is willing to sell me the house for $125,000. And then she told me the street that was on, it's one of the lawn streets in the University District. And for any of you that are familiar with the Detroit area, there's nothing cheap anywhere, let alone the University District isn't cheap either. But her landlord, LaDon, actually promised to sell it to her for $125,000 5 years ago. And when I spoke with LaDon, he actually said yes, and he would still honor it. So her home actually appraised for almost $190,000, but LaDon was just a man of his word and kept it. And we were able to structure the transaction so she was able to get in with only $1,500 out of pocket. We were able to push her mortgage down to about $70,000 using the Tobias Harris and the gift of equity. The way we structured it, it worked out quite well. So very, very happy for Deborah. And her payments actually came in a few $100s less than what she was paying in rent. So, and she'd been renting that house for 10 years. So I will forever be grateful for being introduced to LaDon. So, and Steve Narden. So this was the first loan that I did with the Tobias Harris. This Tobias Harris $75,000 program is only available through Guild Mortgage. And I will tell you, Steve at Guild Mortgage, he is the man. He absolutely will just takes everybody by the hand and gets them across the finish line. So very, very proud to actually call Steve a friend. After a few months, we've really developed a really good relationship, trying to help as many families as we can get into this Tobias Harris program. So imagine $75,000 in down payment assistance. So very, very happy for Deborah. So most of these people were where you are. Okay. They basically came across me through a webinar, maybe a friend or a family member. It's amazing how many different ways people cross my path. Every now and then we run ads, Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or you name it. People see me on YouTube. Doesn't matter. It's just, I'm just so blessed that people see it and actually give me the time of day to realize that this is actually a legitimate way to purchase a house, especially with all the scams that are going on in this world. It's like, I'm afraid to even answer my phone. I swear if I get 40 calls a day, easily half of them say scam or spam. It's tough. So I get people all the time that really question what I do. And as a result, we have built a website where we teach people all about these different programs. Actually, I'll jump into that right now. If you ever want to learn more about this, okay, I always tell people, go to my website. It's called Own the Roof, OWNTHEROOF, owntheroof.com. Okay. On this website, this is where we keep all the educational content. Any of you that want copies of my books, I have 2 books that I've written. They're available on Amazon, but you don't need to buy them. I didn't put them up there to make money. I put them up there for more credibility. So if you want to buy a copy of them on Amazon, I mean, you're more than welcome to do it, but there's no need. I can email you a digital copy. Okay. Happy to do it. Just text me your information and I will get that off to you. Or if you just go to my website, and it's let's go back here. It is owntheroof.com/free book. Just enter that and you'll go right to a landing page where you can enter your email address and name, and you'll get emailed a copy instantly. So that will give you the no down payment, no problem book. If you're not a reader, hey, I don't know how you are. I listen to a lot of what I call audible books. So I could just do yard work and listen to books. That's how I roll. That's what I like to do. So that being said, there are other ways. We have free courses. You can actually go out and register for free courses. The No Down Payment Guide. This is my book that I basically have on video courses. The next one, if you need credit repair, we've got a credit repair workshop videos. There's probably about 6 hours in the No Down Payment Guide, probably about 3-4 hours on the Quick Credit Score Repair Guide. And for those of you that want to get a higher level of education on how we can structure deals to get in with very little money out of pocket, I have another course, Structuring Deals with Little Money. Okay. So we try to cover all of it. These are available for renters. I have agents that download them all the time. So I want to pay it forward and educate the people in my industry as well, too. So if you're a real estate agent, please take advantage of it. Hit me up. If you ever have any questions on it, love to explain and teach others about it as well, too. You can also book a free call here. So if any of you have any questions on anything that I do, any of the resources that I have, just feel free. Go out to my website, owntheroof.com, book that free call, and we'll go over your situation. Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, doesn't matter to me, okay? I want to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and tell you what we can do or what we have to do to get you across the finish line and tap into a lot of these programs that are out there. Lots of free money out there. And you can always register for my webinars here, or you can register for my credit repair webinar. That's here too. So that's where we teach people how to get their credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. My next one is actually on May 23rd. So about a month away. So I only do those once a month. But in the meantime, I always like making myself as accessible as possible. Here is my phone number, 248-252-7283. Putting this right in the chat box. And let me get this out there for our Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn friends, 248-252-7283. There you go. Okay, rolling right along. So, what is down payment assistance? Okay, there's down payment assistance and there's grants. Down payment assistance comes in 3 forms, okay? The first one is you basically get money. They put a lien on your house. As long as you keep the house for either 3, 5, 7 years. They release the lien, you get to keep all the money. Okay, great. I mean, what's not to like? Free money. The second type of down payment assistance is where they give you free use of money. Okay, and what is that? So free use of money is like the state of Michigan will give people $10,000 that you get free use of. You never make a payment on it. They never charge you any interest. But when you sell the house, they want the $10,000 back. So it's a great deal. I mean, you can keep the house for 30 years. So it's all in my mind. That's what the most successful people, I think, in this world do. It's all about other people's money. So if you can use the state's money for free, great alternative. And then the third way, and I don't do too many of these are structured loans where they actually loan you the down payment and closing costs and you make payments over time. I only do maybe a couple of those a year. Most people, I find other routes for it. Those tend to get a little bit expensive. I do hear there's some, there are misconceptions out there that that's the way down payment assistance is, and that's a small percentage. I mean, that's like maybe 2% of the people that I work with go down that road. Because there's no other options, okay? But most of the people that I work with can certainly find one of the other types of down payment assistance where own the house X amount of years, you get to keep all the money, or you get free use of the money. Those are the two ways I prefer to roll. The other way are grants, and grants are just free money. Sometimes it's money you get to keep at the time of closing. So you close on it, you get to keep it, boom. Some grants do have stipulations where you need to own it for 3, 5 years, and that's fine. So but just keep that in mind. It's all about knowing when you go in. Okay, so all types of grants out there. There's down payment assistance grants, there's closing cost grants, there's closing assistance grants, all kinds of grants out there, and it's all available through the application Zero Down Scout. I'm going to show you that in just a minute, where you can get access to all 3,000 programs across the country. Okay, now what are the eligibility requirements for a lot of these programs? Well, they typically don't want to see more than half your income go to your house payment and your overall debt. So what does that look like? Let's say, for example, you make $4,000 a month. Say they don't want to see more than $2,000 a month go to your house payment and whatever's showing up on your credit report, maybe auto loans, credit cards, things like that. So let's say if your income's $4,000, that takes us to 2. We subtract maybe $500 for a car payment, maybe $100 for credit cards, $100 for student loans. That could take you down to a $1,300 house payment. That's buying about a $150,000 house. Okay, in my neck of the woods, that's the sweet spot for me. So if you're looking for a $200,000 house, your payments might go up to maybe $1,800 a month, and so on. Okay, so as far as eligibility requirements, credit usually is one of the big things that hold people up. Like I said earlier, the money is the easy part, so don't worry about that. Credit's the next thing. If your credit scores are above a 580, you're in the strike zone. Okay, easy enough. So credit scores above 500, ideally above 600. Now, if your credit scores are below that, below 580, we do have some options, but they become limited. Okay, I always tell people schedule an appointment with me so I can target what programs offer that level of flexibility when it comes to credit. So those are the major things when it comes to purchasing a home. Assets, which is your down payment, income, and credit. Those are the 3 big things. That's it. Okay. And like I said earlier, it is not about perfection. Once I know your story, I can give you a high degree of certainty what we need to do to get you where you need to be, to get you into a house on whatever timeline you're looking for. Or if it's not on what you're looking for, I'll give you an accurate timeline of what you can expect. Okay. So we already covered the benefits of down payment assistance and grants. So I'll skip right over that. Some of the misconceptions out there, the misconceptions about these programs are, number one, they're only for low income people. Absolutely not. Some of these programs have no income restrictions. Okay. Some of them are for great credit. Absolutely not. Okay, right now I've got a program in the city of Detroit that'll go down to a 540 credit score, provided the credit profile doesn't have recent late payments on it. Okay, so there's always workarounds for things. Okay, so don't let those limiting beliefs poison your mind and thinking you can't get this done. Okay, schedule a call with me. Always happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and give you my input. Here is a link to my calendar where you can schedule a call. Let me put this out here on, okay, get this out here to my friends on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. There you go. All right. So first thing I always tell everybody is book a call. That's the best place to start. Okay. I'll give you my input with regards to what we can do and what kind of timeline it's going to take. All right. Next thing, there are several steps that you go through in order to get your basically loan approval and get into a home. We're going to touch on those things in just a second. But first thing I always tell people is we want to research the programs. Okay. So when I say research the programs, we want to find out what's out there. Okay. And I always encourage everybody to do that. Best place to do it is the new app that we just built. It's called Zero Down Scout. Okay. Here is the QR code. You can go out to the Apple Store, iOS, or Google Play Store, and you can download our app. Just type in Zero Down Scout, one word. Okay. Once you get in there, you can see what you qualify for. Just put in a zip code. Here, I'll do 48219. This is the house that I grew up in. Right now, based on your area, you could qualify for $10,000 to $25,000. So that's the Michigan Home Down Payment Assistance. Actually, this one could qualify for $75,000 because the Tobias Harris program just went citywide. Detroit DPA program, $25,000. MISHDA. So all kinds of programs out there. Unlock your full. So in order to unlock your full results, you need to put in some information, okay? I don't know if my current location, it's probably not going to work, but let's try this. Boy, what is it? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of an address here. Let's put in an address here, and well, here's some saved address. Here's one on Mark Twain. Don't remember this one. But here, I think I sold this one a couple of years ago. For some reason, it's in the saved addresses. I was trying to recall my address I grew up in on Lamphere, and it's, I do recall it. Let me go right now. Having one of them senior moments. So excuse me a second. Let's go back. And it is 16801. Let's see if it pops up. Lamphere. And the zip code 48219. Maybe 125,000 in that area. Continue. Okay. You can answer as many questions as you want. The more questions you answer, the more information it's going to give you. But go right into the programs. Here, enter my information. Oops. And sign in. And here are my matches. 9 programs. Okay. Look at this. This is new. Use the narrow results to get grants. Excellent. That's a nice ad. Good job there, Elena, for adding that. So you can see right here, MISHDA, $10,000. Another MISHDA, $7,500. Wayne County DPA. Actually, I think that's up to $15,000. And then $10,000, $10,000, $15,000 for the step forward. 10,000 through there. And boy, I don't see the city program, but there's all kinds of programs out there. So lots of ways, great program. Please just go and download this. You won't be disappointed. Okay. And if you have any friends or family members across the country, gosh, share this tool with them. It's absolutely crazy the amount of money that's out there right now. If you click on the program, it's here. You can see this is the one I was telling you about earlier, State of Michigan. 0% interest, no monthly payment, second mortgage. Okay. You don't get to keep the money, but you get free use of the state's money. Okay. And it describes it right there. If you want more information, all you got to do takes you right here. Just book a call with us. Okay. So lots of ways to get into houses. Let's go back and try that one a moment ago on Cherry Lawn. I wonder what that one. And look at back here. Well, kind of stuck there. Let me go back. Okay. Well, most of the programs are going to be the same. You're going to find that there's typically anywhere between 10 to 15 throughout the city of Detroit, where I tend to do most of my business. When you get into some areas across the country, it is absolutely crazy how it works out for Los Angeles. $161,000 right now. New York, $260,000. Miami, $200,000 in down payment assistance programs. Some of these markets are absolutely exploding with money. So, but you're talking about areas where $1 million doesn't really buy a lot. But anyways, this app works across the country. So, if you have friends across the country, please do not hesitate to pass this along to them. I think they'll find it very, very useful. So what is the first step? Like I said, we want to identify the program. Okay. A lot of people think that the first thing they want to do is get pre-approved. I don't find that's the wisest first step, because most lenders only do maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 programs at the most. So the chance of you actually lining up with a lender that is going to offer the most amount of money, that's actually pretty slim. Okay. So I always tell people the first step is you want to go out there, download the application, see what programs are out there so you can get a feel for it. Then I would recommend scheduling a call with us so we can introduce you to the lenders that are offering the most amount of money. Okay. And I always suggest that, because what happens is, without fail, a couple of times a month, I'll have people go, "Hey, John, went to your webinar, appreciate all the information. I went to ABC Bank like you recommended, and I'm not getting the level of service that I would have hoped for." Okay. Well, most of these banks have hundreds of loan officers that work there, and they're not going to talk to me. There's financial privacy laws that prohibit them from talking to just disinterested people in the party, in the transaction. So that being the case, I always say, let me recommend someone that works inside the departments that issue these funds, so you're getting an experienced loan officer that knows how to get things done. And more importantly, if you run into any snags, and there's always snags for whatever reason, I can jump in and hold them accountable. Okay. Not that happens all the time, but there's always little bumps in the road. So number one, we want to find who offers the most amount of money. Number two, we want to make sure that you're eligible for those particular programs. So, and that's another thing that we do. Okay. When you schedule that call with me, I'm going to ask you, hey, where's your income? Where are your credit scores? What are the other factors? So before I started doing these down payment assistance programs and dedicating my career to down payment assistance programs and grants, I spent over 20 years in the mortgage world. So I know what they're looking for, what questions to ask to help you make sure you're going to be aligned with the best program possible. The last thing you want to do is call one loan officer, give them your information, have them pull your credit, and then go to another one because he says he can't do it. Okay. We want to try to minimize those inquiries in your credit. Okay. And I usually like to connect people with lenders that can do, more often than not, more than one program. Okay. I always want to have a plan B. I don't know how you are, but life always gets in the way of my plans. So if I've got a plan A, I want a plan B. The last thing I want to do is getting you excited is one thing. Okay, I don't know about you, but I've heard no in my life, and I guess I respect people sometimes when they tell me no. But what I don't want to do is get my family hyped up for a move and then have someone pull the rug out. Okay, I would rather connect you with someone that's going to be a solid professional to get you across that finish line. So we want to know what your income, credit score, and other factors are so we can make sure your eligibility lines up with the programs we're going to recommend. From there, you're going to want to gather some of your documentation, tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, proof of income, okay? As far as credit, assets, that's the easy part. It's usually the income is and the credit's predictable. So the income is usually the one that requires the most amount of work. But in today's digital world, you just get some pay stubs and W-2s, and that's all you need. From there, like I said, we're going to connect you with a lender to get you pre-approved. That's when we want to connect you. And once we get you pre-approved, then we want to connect you with an agent. Now, I will tell you, it never hurts to start looking at houses, okay? And I feel like, gosh, here, let me give you my website, micitysearch.com. If you want to start looking at houses, I think it's never too soon to do that. And the reason I say that is I think it's imperative that you know how your money spends. That way, once you get your pre-approval and you hit the streets and start looking for houses, when value's presented to you, you're not going to think twice. You're just going to go forward, okay? Because you're going to be that educated consumer making some really good decisions. Okay, let me get that link out to my Facebook and LinkedIn friends. All right. Okay. So what I always tell people, imagine opening a door to your home for your family. It's a process, but it is possible. Okay. So there's no rocket science with this. Okay. These programs are out there and we can help you structure these deals to get in with very little money out of pocket. So there are all kinds of techniques to get your closing costs covered, to get your down payment covered, and to make this as smooth as possible. So like I said earlier, okay, not about perfection, and the money is the easy part, okay? So let me start opening things up. We're at the 7:40 mark. Let me one more time start getting my page in here. There we go. I want to give you the link to book a call with me. There you go. Whoops, wrong one. In the meantime, any questions, please start typing those in the chat box. We're going to jump into the question and answer area right now. And let's go back over here. Okay. Okay, Cynthia's asking, what was the link to download? If you are referring to the download for my book, that I'm not sure if that's what you were talking about or not, but let me get that for you. And here it is. Make sure this link is still working here. There you go. OwnTheRoof.com/free book. Just put in your name, phone number, email address, click the link, and you will be emailed a copy instantly. Okay. And let's get that over into our Facebook and LinkedIn friends as well. Cynthia, hope that was the download you were asking for. If not, just clarify which link you were looking for. Hi, Annette. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for showing up this evening. Okay. Someone is asking, what about Section 8? So there is a path to home ownership with Section 8. Okay. First, it depends on what housing commission your voucher is with. So if you happen to be with the Detroit Housing Commission, that's basically who I've got a few people through. There are other housing commissions where it works as well too. So Most importantly, you have, and actually, if you're with the MISHDA program through the state of Michigan, they definitely have a keys to ownership program. Okay. Now, what we can do is once you get approved for that keys to ownership, there's just some hurdles that we have to do with regards to making sure the house will fit in. And it's not rocket science, but it requires 2 inspections versus the normal 1 and things like that. But it's actually a pretty easy path for us. We've been through it, a good half a dozen times, so we're quite familiar with it. All right, let's go over here, check out some of the other questions here. Okay, Gretchen, you're asking for, I don't know what information you're looking for, Gretchen, number 1. And 2, I don't have your email address. So if you could possibly reach out to me, book a call, happy to get you any information you're interested in. And Flower Power, not sure what you're asking there with the Rothschilds. All right. Good question. Someone's asking, how do we structure, or how do we get in with just $1,000 out of pocket? Well, I'll give you a couple of scenarios. Let's say, for example, we're going to get a down payment assistance program. Say it's $10,000. Okay. Here's a perfect situation. Just had one yesterday. Purchase price, $250,000. Okay. They're using a $10,000 down payment assistance program. The loan that they're using requires 3% down. So 3% down is $7,500. So the $7,500 is taken care of. That leaves $2,500 that can be used for their closing costs. Now their closing costs are running about $7,500. So that means we still have to cover $5,000. So what are we doing? We're going to ask the seller to pay $2,500. And that gets the amount that the buyer needs to get into that $250,000 house at $2,500. Now, in that particular situation, that's how we had to structure it, because that program had a 1% buyer contribution was the minimum. And 1% of $250,000 is $2,500. Now, there are some programs, for example, right now, City of Detroit has one that's $25,000. That only requires $1,000 into the transaction. So let's say you were buying a house for $150,000. What we could do is structure it so you could, let's say the closing costs were $7,000 on that one. You have to have $1,000 into it. Okay, so what we can do is take 7,000 minus 1,000 is 6,000. You're getting $25,000 from the City of Detroit. 25,000 minus 8 is going to take us to 18,000. So what we would do is we would structure it where you're going to put an $18,000 down payment. We use 6,000 of the 25,000 for, or would it be 7? I'm sorry, 6,000 for the down payment assistance and $19,000 down. That's what it'd be. $19,000 down payment, 6,000 goes towards your closing costs, and then you're only in with $1,000 out of pocket. Now that's the easy way to do it. There are some advanced maneuvers sometimes where we can get lender credits to help ease that closing cost blow. There are grants out there that can cover some of the closing costs. And sometimes if we're fortunate enough and we can hit it when there are several programs out there and we can stack them. For example, like in Emily's case, remember she received $31,000, or $33,000, I think, Emily. A lot of these people were able to stack the programs on top of each other. So, and in Emily's case, $33,000, but for her, $25,000 from the city, 3% down, which would have been like $3,500 for additional down payment, and then $5,000 closing cost grant, $500 appraisal grant. So every now and then, if your credit's in the right spot and there's enough money out there, we'll try to stack as many as we possibly can. They're making that a little bit more challenging lately. So I don't want to promise it to everybody, but if the money's out there, I'll be happy to pick it up. It's easy. All right. What other questions do we have out there? Jennifer, did I answer your question about Section 8 there? Okay. All right. Question, my credit repair webinar. Great question. Let me give you a link where you can register for my credit repair webinar, which is coming up next month. I think we said that was on the 23rd. So let's put that in our chat box here. And keep in mind, you can always go to my website, owntheroof.com, and you will see, you'll have access to all of these, okay? All of the tools and all of the webinars. I try to do a webinar every Wednesday night, 7 to 8 p.m., just hitting different topics. The topic one that just came out was the fact that the Tobias Harris $75,000 is now available throughout the city of Detroit. And there is chatter that it might be going statewide in the near future too. Okay, so that would be $75,000 statewide. Crazy amount of money. So I have a feeling that money they're going to start flying through it. But there's chatter that they are working with some pretty impressive powers to increase the scale of it and the funding for it. So like I said, the other areas of the country, there's just some huge amounts that are out there. So, and if you go to my website, where are we here? Own the Roof, you can get a feel for it. So if you look at the website, you can see, there it is. Miami, $200,000. Denver, 40. Austin, Texas, 260. Detroit says 30, but that's up to 75. Vegas has 50,000. New York is 260. Los Angeles, 160,000. Chicago, 40,000. So crazy amounts of money out there for people to purchase and get out of that renting rut. So, all right. We are at the 7:50 mark. I always like to try and wind things down about that. I don't know how you are, but the older I get, my attention span just isn't in it for the long haul. Any other questions before we break this evening? Well, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. Again, my number, 248-252-7283. Right there. And let's get that here again, 248-252-7283. Please keep in mind, I am a self-professed phone jockey. I'm on the phone all day. So if you call, you get my voicemail, please leave a message, or better yet, just shoot me a text, okay? And I'll call you in between calls. I pride myself in returning all my calls before the end of the day. I just don't like having a full voicemail at the end of the day. And so I try to return those calls just as quickly as they hit my inbox. So any questions, never hesitate to reach out. Any friends, family members, anybody you know of that's thinking of making a move, there is no shortage of down payment assistance and grant money out there. Send them my way. Always happy to educate the masses. I'm more of that abundance mindset. So love paying it forward and teaching everybody about these different types of products and how easy it is. And more importantly, that it's not about perfection. You don't need perfect credit. We do need to have some income. And like I said, the money is actually the easiest part to the whole equation. So thank you all very much for watching on this Wednesday night, April 29th. If you ever want to catch some of my other webinars, they're all sitting out there on YouTube. Just go to the live area for the Own the Roof channel, and you can see any of our old stuff that's out there too. So hope our paths cross again real soon. Thanks for watching tonight, and take care. Goodbye.